Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you all again, as usual, and a very warm welcome back to What's for Tea. And if you're new, welcome to you as well. This is What's for Tea, and my name is Cheryl. And for tea tonight, I made these absolutely outstanding, let me tell you, individual steak pies. Now, I've been asked for a recipe for such a long time for stand-up pies. So I thought I'd do one tonight, and it's all about the stew in this one, guys. It really is. I'm going to be using ready-made pastry. It's just a lifesaver. But if you're good at pastry, feel free to make your own, obviously. But just before I move on, I wanted to say a big thank you to the supporters of my channel over my Patreon page. So thank you all very much, guys. It does mean ever so much. I'll leave a link to my Patreon underneath this video. So I'm just going to get right into it. I usually lay the ingredients out for you to see, but I don't have enough bowls, so we're just going to get right into it. So in a large pan, you want to heat some olive oil, and to that you want to add about 1.5 pounds of braising steak, or chuck steak, or casserole steak, whatever you want to use. I get mine from a local butcher, and there's a special offer on 2 for 3 at the moment. So I ended up with £3 of this beef. So I used half of it in this recipe. So you just want to sear your beef. So you want quite a high heat. To that, you just want to add some salt and pepper. The amount is up to you, just to suit yourself. So just make sure it's well browned on all sides. And this will take you probably about 5 minutes. But this is quite an important step. So just take your time and do make sure it's well browned. And once you're happy, lift it out and just set it to the side for the time being. Everything just gets done in the one pan. So then you can pop in your onions and also your garlic. You just want to fry these or saute them until they're softened. Again, it'll just take you a few minutes. And then when you're happy, you can pop in your flour. This is going to help thicken up your gravy, or it will thicken up your gravy. And you just want to let that cook for about a minute. And then you're going to add your liquid. So first of all, I'm adding my stock. Just give that a good stir and it will thicken. And then I'm going to pop in the red wine. That's about 400ml of red wine. And all of these ingredients will be in the show more box underneath this video. Just pop in a tablespoon of your tomato puree, followed by the Worcester sauce, or Worcestershire sauce. And once it's simmering, you can add your beef back in. Give it a good stir. The last thing we're going to do is add a few bay leaves. Now, if you've got, proper bay leaves, use them. I don't have any, so I'm using these paper ones. Just make sure they're submerged. Pop your lid on, and you want to cook this for about 1 hour and 45 minutes, as low and as slow as you can. And after 1 hour and 45 minutes, you'll be left with something like this. Now, there's still quite a bit of gravy in there, so want to reduce this a wee bit more. So leave the lid off and give it about another 15 minutes simmering away, and it will just reduce down further, and it will intensify the flavour of your gravy. And this is ideal. You don't want too much liquid out of it because you want this to cool completely, and more water will evaporate off. So yeah, just let that cool completely. And once it's cool, you can turn your attention to your pastry. Now, I'm just using 4 individual enamel pans. I get these ones from Lakeland, but use whatever pie tins you want. You can even just do the one big pie if you wanted. I'm using 2 different types of pastry. I'm using short crust for the bottom and puff for the top, but you can use whatever you like. Just make sure the pastry that you cut out is slightly bigger than your tin, because you want it to come right up the sides to the top of your tin, because when you put your lid on, you want them to connect together. So we're going to blind bake the cases for about 20 minutes. So you want to pop in some greaseproof paper or some foil and weight down your paper with some rice or baking beans or, split peas, lentils, whatever you've got. You just want to bake these for 20 minutes, and that's your temperatures there. Because, if you put your mixture into raw pastry, they're not going to cook underneath. And like I said, I'm just going to cut out the tops. So I'm using puff pastry for the tops. So after 15-20 minutes, lift your bases out and they should be looking something like this. Now they're just about all the way cooked, but not completely cooked. As you can see there, you know, they're perfect. And you just want to add your beef back in and just make sure it's cooled, obviously. Then you can just pop your lids on and just make sure that you join them up together at the edges. Make sure that your tops meet the bottom of your pastry so that they stay nice and sealed. Just like this. It's really easy. You just want to brush the tops with either a beaten egg like me, or you could use some milk if you prefer. Cut a wee hole in the top to let the steam out. Again, that'll just help to avoid soggy pastry. And you want to bake these until they're golden. Probably take you about half an hour. And you'll have something that looks like this. And I was really chuffed with these ones. Like I said, we're doing individual ones, but you can just make the one big pie if you prefer. So this is what we had for tea last night, and they're really easy to get out the pans as well. I'm going to cut into this one shortly just to let you see, you know, what they do look like inside when you cut through the middle. They should be lovely and tender, you know, the meat should be lovely and tender. There should still be bags of gravy in there. You don't want these dry. And we had ours with mashed potato and some green beans on the side. Now there's one missing, I wonder why that is. So this is it inside, and as you can see, absolutely ideal. Just give it a wee squidge down and some of that gravy will ooze out. Wonderful, and so rich as well, you know, because of all your wine and your stock, and you've cooked it for so long. It's just beautiful and rich, and that meat was fall apart tender. It was, I mean, it's lovely beef anyway because it's from the butcher, and I would suggest getting the best beef that you can because it really is the star of the show in this recipe. It's all about that stew. But like I said, if you're good at making pastry, I'm not, I'm terrible at pastry, then by all means make your own. But puff pastry can be quite time consuming as well, and very, very tricky to get right. I do from time to time make my own short crust pastry. That's fairly easy and straightforward, but I always buy puff pastry like this. It's such a, you know, it's an excellent time saver as well as, you know, turning out perfect every time. It takes the guesswork out and not knowing whether it's going to work out or not. So I would say go for the ready-made stuff, or, you know, like I said, if you're good at making pastry, make your own. But thank you ever so much for coming over, like I said in the beginning, just to check out this wee recipe. I really do appreciate it, and let me know if you're planning on giving these ones a go for yourself. Highly recommended. If you do like yourself a wee pie, then these ones were absolutely delicious. Everybody liked them. I mean, who doesn't like a pie? Let's be honest. So I'll be back in the next few days. I think my next video is going to be the shopping haul, and then shortly after that I'll be telling you about that giveaway, because that is just around the corner. So whenever I see you next, and whenever you choose to join me again, mind to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you awful soon back here on What's for Tea. So bye for now. Bye now.